The growth in the number and scope of federal government bureaucracies in the United States during the 20th century has been the inevitable consequence of government's expanded responsibilities, particularly since the New Deal. The tremendous increase in the number of agencies needed to administer federal programs has created what many call a fourth branch of government. This fourth branch is not some monolithic superstructure. It is rather a collection of more than a dozen cabinet departments, scores of regulatory commissions and independent agencies, and a handful of government corporations. These bureaucracies are considered a fourth branch of government because they have developed their own constituencies and clientele groups, which serves as sources of political power necessary to challenge the will of Congress and the President. The threat of bureaucratic independence has had a major impact on the other three branches of government. Presidents have expanded their White House staffs, often hiring specialists to aid in developing policy and monitoring the bureaucracies. Congress has expanded its legislative staff in order to better perform its oversight function, while the judiciary has become a major policy actor as well, particularly in social regulation. In the view of many critics, bureaucratic growth is unjustified and indefensible. The bureaucracies, they point out, do not have constitutional standing. Certainly they should not have policy-making authority. Bureaucratic rulemaking and adjudication is said to violate the most basic principles of American government, separation of powers and its corollary checks and balances. But the story of contemporary American bureaucracies is not that career bureaucrats have usurped the power of the other branches. Rather, it is the story of how Congress, the presidency, and the courts have modified themselves to cope with the threat of bureaucratic ascendancy. Although significant problems exist in the administration of federal programs, bureaucracies are not out of control or unaccountable as their critics contend, nor do they represent a threat to a basic concept in the American ideal of good government, separation of powers. They do, however, constitute an unanticipated and unprescribed addition to the Madisonian model of separated and competing government institutions.